Hey guys, today what I want to talk about is what's in my camera bag. So let me just first say that I feel like this is like my number one question that I get asked almost daily. Like, what lens are you using? What cameras are you using? Do you use a reflector? What are you charging your batteries with? So I really, just thought, hey, I'm gonna make a video so that anytime somebody asks me, I can just send them this video and it kind of just answers all the questions. I also want to let you know that none of this gear was just bought overnight. The lenses and the cameras and everything that I have was bought gradually. So if you're just starting out in photography, just know that you don't have to have all of this stuff to have great pictures. The number one thing you need to make sure that you have is just the education, the know, and then make sure that you execute and then you go out and shoot. I'm going to recommend two huge things, especially that I feel like you do need in order to like those game changer things that you can incorporate and purchase like as soon as you start making money that will be huge game changers in your image quality. And I'm gonna let you know what mine was and what I still shoot with. So here we go. I'm gonna try to go in order of like how I bought them so that you can see like what's most important. Okay, so the very first thing that I purchased, obviously, was my Nikon D3100. Now, I don't have that anymore because I've sold it because I've upgraded. But I do want to tell you, like, that's what I started with. And I did shoot probably 20 sessions with the Nikon D3100 and I got paid for it. So you can start with that. The next huge purchase that I made was the Nikon 50 millimeter 1.8. And this is the lens, it's on my camera right now. This is the lens that I recommend to everyone that I mentor. I recommend it as a prerequisite to come to any of my photography workshops. It's the Nikon 50 millimeter 1.8, or if you're Canon, it would be the Canon 50 millimeter 1.8. It's very inexpensive and it does the job. The aperture goes all the way down to 1.8, so you can still get the compression and the creamy, dreamy background that everybody really wants. And it's just an all-around good lens. I still use it to weddings, for family sessions. I use this anytime I shoot my kids or we go traveling on vacation. The Nikon 50 millimeter 1.8 is by far my most versatile lens that I can shoot with. And it's also super light. So it's not hard to pack and I bring it with me everywhere. So that was the very first lens that I purchased. And I totally recommend if you're first starting out and if you decide to stop the video now, this is the one that you want. The 50 millimeter 1.8. You can get it on Amazon and I'll link below so you can just fast track to purchasing it today. So the 50 millimeter 1.8 was the very first thing that I purchased after I made some pennies. The very next thing that I purchased was I was like, I'm upgrading my camera body because I feel like I have improved and I feel like my 3100 camera body was holding me back. So this is the Nikon D750 camera body. And I actually have two of these. So I have this one and then I have a backup. And Thomas uses my second one sometimes. I'll bring two to like bridal sessions and engagement sessions, and I'll have like my dual strap going on. And so it saves me time. But I do have two camera bodies, and I'll 100% you recommend if you especially make this a business that you have two camera bodies just in case you're at a shoot an hour away and your camera body malfunctions for some reason, you'll have a backup. Especially for wedding days. If you're a wedding photographer, you're just starting out, make sure you save your money to get two camera bodies because what happens if your camera messes up or your camera body malfunctions? You won't have a camera. So make sure you have two. I have two Nikon D750s. They're incredible. I have zero complaints about them. I don't plan on upgrading anytime soon because it just does the job. So, I actually didn't buy my second camera body until I started shooting weddings. So this was probably about 4 months into starting photography. Okay, so my next huge purchase, which is another game-changing lens that I call it my fifth child, is it's on my camera right now because it literally never leaves this camera, is my Nikon 85 millimeter 1.4 lens. And let me tell you, this is my baby. I love this lens so much. It literally never leaves my camera body. I use it 99% of the time. I only use my other lenses if I have to. So no, I don't bring this traveling because it's a little heavy and I don't want it to get like broken because I love him so much. But the compression on this lens and the bokeh that it produces, it's just like no other freaking lens. It's by far my favorite. And another good thing is that I can shoot all the way down at 1.4 and I still have a super sharp image. So I can get that like fine art look with this lens because I can shoot at 1.4 and get it super sharp. So the 85 millimeter 1.4, like don't skip on get the 1.8, get the 1.4. Save your pennies, get the gear that works and that is worth your money. Okay, so that's the second lens I bought. The third lens I bought that kind of like made my lens collection complete was the Sigma 35 millimeter 1.4. So this is the Sigma Art 35 millimeter 1.4. It is beautiful, it's sharp, and it's a wide angle lens that I needed for whenever I started to shoot weddings. So this is the lens that I used for bridal party, for family formals, getting ready in tight spaces, just anything that I needed a wide lens for. The Sigma Art 35 millimeter 1.4 was just the one to go to. I still use it all the time, at every wedding, and especially for receptions. I literally have this on my camera for 3 hours at the reception. It's perfect, it's beautiful, and I highly recommend it. And then I'll have a link below for all of these. The next lens that I bought was the macro. So this is the Sigma 105 millimeter 2.8. I like him. It's not my favorite. It kind of takes a while to grab focus, but I bought it for bridal details. It does the job, but I have to like hold my breath, like make sure that I'm focused, like I can't have any distractions. This will probably be sold soon to get the Nikon macro lens because I've just heard better things about it. But at the time, this one was super cheap. And it did the job. Like I said, I was only shooting bridal details here and there, so I didn't need a $2,000 macro lens. But he's okay. He's not my favorite, but we'll keep him around for a little while. The next purchase that I made was my 24. This is the Sigma 24-70 2.8. I only use this lens if I absolutely have to. It's a zoom lens, my only zoom lens. It's the 24-70, but I only use this if I am in a tight space. Sometimes I'll give this to Thomas, my husband / second shooter, and he'll, shoot the reception or whatever I need him to shoot with this because it gives him, flexibility to zoom in and out without him having to get too close because I'm like in everybody's girl. We don't need two photographers in everybody's girl. So he uses this. It's not my favorite, but I have it just in case. Then last but not least is my last purchase. I got this about 6 months ago. It is the Sigma Art 135 millimeter 1.8. So it's a prime lens and it's a long lens. It's 135 millimeters. The reason I got this lens is because it had amazing reviews and I needed a longer lens for ceremonies and other things that I just couldn't physically move closer to and use my 85. I don't have a 70-200 anymore. I sold him because he's too heavy and I never used him. I hated using the 70-200, so I got this one instead. It is beautiful. It is sharp. It has the most amazing compression ever. The reason I don't love him is because he's so heavy. So I'd much rather my 85 because it's lighter and it still gives me the sharp compression. This is also, I use it for necessity. Thomas uses this a lot for ceremonies while I have the 85 on. So it does get used and it gets used a lot, but my 85 1.4 is still 100% my favorite. Okay, moving on. In case you need a camera bag, this was the very first camera bag that I ever got, and I still use it. It's the Joe Totes Gracie. My mom got it for me for Christmas. It does the job. It's cute. It holds a lot. Um, and yeah, it works. I'm not going to spend money on something else just to be cute or whatever. I have the camera bag and it works. I highly recommend it, and I'll link it below. The other two things that I want to talk about are my reflectors. So this is a smaller reflector that I use that has a handle, and I can literally hold it underneath my camera, bounce light back into their face, and hold it underneath my camera while I'm shooting seniors or brides or anything that I need just like extra light bouncing in their face that I'm closer up to them. And then I also have this really big reflector, and this is used, it's 52 inches, like it's massive, but this is used if I need to block sun or just anything that, like, a lot of times Thomas will hold it to literally block the sun off of my client in case like I have to shoot in a certain location. And I don't use reflectors a ton. I just use them, like I said, if I need to. So those are linked below. The other thing that I have is my SD cards and my card holder. So this is the Pixel Pocket Rocket. It's linked below, and I love it because it's bright orange, which means I'm not going to lose it in my camera bag, and that's why I picked it. It's like, you know, a hunter in the woods. Like, they're bright orange. You can't miss them. And then inside here, I have all of my cards. They are stacked 2 in each little holder because in my camera, I have 2 card slots. And so I can easily grab 2 at a time, put them in, and then when I'm done with them, I will turn them over like this so that I know like the card is full. And the cards that I use are the Extreme Pro 16 gigs, the SanDisk. I have these linked below too. I have the sizes. I have like 16 gig all the way to 64. So I switch out my cards a lot, like during a wedding day, just in case the card corrupts. Only like this much of the wedding day would be lost. It's never happened before, but this is just how I think. Instead of like if I had those like 128 gig and you can shoot like for 6 hours, like what if it gets corrupt and your backup gets corrupt as well? Like you literally lost the whole day. So I would rather shoot on smaller cards, change them after each segment of the day. That way, just in case the cards get corrupted, only like a small portion of the day is lost. And that's just my own little like weird psycho thinking. Okay, and then also, you know, the battery charger that comes with your Nikon body. I bought just the regular batteries that come with your camera, and I bought 2 extra just in case like this one malfunctions or dies or whatever. I have 2 extra, so I have a total of 6 batteries that I carry with me in my bag at all times. And what else? I think that's it. I was going to add my flashes and all my flash gear, but that's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to put that on another video. And I really just want to encourage you that all of this, like I said, was purchased over years. So don't feel like you have to purchase all of the things. I think what you should be spending the most money on is education and courses, because when you have that, you have the knowledge to use your gear. So, that's my advice to you. I hope this video was helpful in some sort of way. My 2 big pieces of advice is to get a 50mm 1.8, whether that's Nikon or Canon, and when you can afford to, upgrade your camera body to a full frame camera. I recommend, if you're Nikon, the D750. It's beautiful and it does the job and it's very user friendly. So if you have any questions, join us on the Brittany Bruce Education Facebook group. You can comment below this video, and I will see y'all guys soon, and we'll make more videos for you to help you throughout your photography journey.